So I'm fresh out of psychiatric hospital. And I've got this woman who I'd met a couple of years prior when I was chairman of the PFA. We were doing an event for Kick It Out, swapped business cards. Nothing came of it. She'd sent me a couple of emails. She would send them sporadically, like maybe every 6 or 8 months, like just asking about this. But I was, for some reason, I'd never responded, just been happening in the background. And then I come out of psych hospital and I get an email from this woman talking about Pavlov's dog. And I'm like, I don't even know what this woman wants. So I'll tell you what, bite the bullet. Look, let's get together, have a brew. We'll see what each of the other are working on, and if there's any synergy, we can take that forward. So let's get together. So at this time, I'm living in York. She's living in Acton. I'm like, tell you what, I'm coming quite a bit. Let's have some lunch. And then I look at the train times. Like, right, the train times say, let's just have some dinner. I'll meet you in St Albans. We'll have some dinner. Blah 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 blah. So we go and have some dinner at Lussman's in St Albans. And mate, within 4.5 minutes, I'm like, you're my human.
Wow.
It was just her energy, I believe in spirit, in spirit and soul. We just connected. There was a freedom, there was an openness, and we just got on. And that business meeting, we just talked through the night. We drank the hotel out of sparkling water. They had to kick us out, it was just utterly amazing. And so I was like, right, we went on a date after that. On that second meeting, which was our first date, if you ask Carrie, she'll tell us that they were both dates, but we met and I brought her my psychiatric report.
Wow.
I was like, look, I really like you. It's like, we're 37 years of age and you need to know what you're getting into if you want to, you want to have another date. Have a read of that. If you can work with that, because that's me right now, then I'd love for us to go on another date.
Wow.
So we had dinner. She read the psychiatric report. She called me back to set up another date. We went on another date, and I brought her my countdown teapot because she loved tea. So I was like, "Look, I want this to be a gift to you." Just it was almost like dowry, just a statement of intent, and it was my way of saying thank you. I think for her still to be interested in me. Please note, at this point, I've not done any serious therapy work.
Okay, I was going to ask.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that was me still buying, giving for, and then I immediately regretted it because the week after that, I asked her to come in and move in with me and bring my teapot back.
Did she?
She did, yeah. Within about 2 months, Carrie moved up to York and sat in with me and moved in with me. But I was starting my therapeutic journey then.
Did you do that of your own accord? Did you say to yourself, I need therapy, or were you kind of pushed? Or was it part of
it was part of my change or die. When I came out of psychiatric hospital, they introduced to me cognitive analytical therapy. I'd never heard of this before. And to my mind, that it was something I'd never tried, and it gave me hope. In fact, I've actually got the timeline wrong there, Naroop. When I met Carrie and she moved up with me, I'd just come out of psychiatric hospital the first time, and there was still 2 years before I'd started proactively engaging and getting well. So Carrie moved in with me, and I proposed to her, and we got married within like 12, how long was it? Within 15 months, we were engaged, we were married. And through that time, even though I was on meds, it's the first time I'd taken meds properly, that's all I was doing. So when I was experiencing challenge and stuff like that, I was just getting more meds and more meds and more meds until 2 years' time. The last time I was actively suicidal, that was when I started therapy. So I go through therapy then and I start to understand who I am. We've now got our first child and we're going to have our second. And this is when I really start to unpick what it is to be a dad. This is when I am deliberately and consciously working on my relationship with my eldest, who I'd abandoned for 7 or 8 years of her life, who I'd reintroduced more on a friend basis than a father basis. And we have a very special, very unique relationship now. And I verbalize that. I acknowledge it with her. We do have a different relation. How we speak to each other is not how the middle children and I speak to each other, which isn't how our youngest children and I
How's it
speak to
different?
each
You're more friends?
yeah, yeah, we have. I had to salvage that relationship and came to Fran as an outsider who became her friend. And as we reconnected and bonded, I was giving her fatherly advice, but not from a father capacity. I am your father, and I will give advice, but I can't dictate to you. I can only share my learnings and I advise you on. I have preferences, but you make your own decisions. And
But is that the right approach at that age?
well, at that age, yes, yeah,
Because as an adult, I say to my dad, I'm 45. The way that you father me now is different than how he would, and he does, is different than when I was younger. Because he can't tell me what to do, right?
of
But
course.
and he shouldn't. But he should be there in advice and to guide. And as long as you always respect your father, you're gonna take his word and listen to what he says because you understand he's been on this planet longer than you have. But
That's allowing the
yeah,
evolution, and the growth of your child. There is a point where it becomes adult to adult.
yeah,
And in that, you can still retain, the father son, but on an adult to adult
yeah,
perspective. And that can be quite a difficult
yeah.
thing to manage. But what the biggest evolution in that was the fact that with Fran, my eldest, and with Marley and Honey for, until they were 8, 9 years of age, I'd always thought it was the stuff. It's the stuff and the presents and the holidays. Whereas through my therapy, unpicking my experience and what I've given to them thus far, and then bringing them in, fatherhood isn't the stuff.
Mm.
Yes, there are core fundamentals. You want to feed, clothe, house, your family. But what your children need from you is your presence.
Mm.